Hi, I'm Tim. Join me in this video as we unbox and test fly this Hawksworth F-22 two-channel ready-to-fly RC model airplane. I got it at Amazon for $48. Everything. Transmitter, everything. Let's get to it. The F-22 is the U.S. Air Force's premier air-to-air stealth fighter. Became operational in 2005, 187 were built, and is the #1 fighter for taking on air-to-air adversaries for the United States of America. It's an exceptional airplane. We don't know a whole heck of a lot about it because it is so highly classified. Here it is being refueled, but it does a range of things to include shooting missiles and intercepting Soviet bear bombers. Let's take a quick look at where you can buy this F-22. I got mine off of Amazon. It should be up for a Google search, but let's take a look at least for the Amazon website. There are a variety of places to buy this F-22. This is on Amazon. Good description of the airplane, what it does. You can see the price is under $47. Some pictures, details of what the model does. 2 engines, no movable control surfaces, tough foam construction, and a very simple transmitter arrangement. In this video, you'll notice this other model. This is a minimumrc.com Savannah jet that I just completed. There'll be a link in the description if you'd like to see that video review. So this is the Hawksworth F-22. This is the box it came in. Normally I do an unboxing. There's really nothing to unbox. This is a box that comes ready to fly. All you have to do is glue in the 2 fins, the landing gear, and you're set to go fly. Everything's installed. It comes with 2 batteries. It's the 300 milliamp batteries here. It comes with 2 extra props. Do take a look at the instructions because there is a left and a right prop with an A and B on it. You've got to get them on the right side. It's all part of the flying characteristics. A little charger for the batteries that plugs into the USB port. Just a tip, I get so many of these USB chargers. I put the name of the airplane on there. I think it'll help. And the box, it says there's a gyroscope system. I take them at the words. A very smooth flyer, 2-channel control, rechargeable battery, 2.4 gigahertz radio, so you don't have to worry about any interference on it. So this is the airplane itself. These 2 fins, there's a little way to put them in with hooks inside there. I highly recommend, the directions recommend, a little bit of 5-minute epoxy in here will ensure that these fins stay in place. The other thing you're going to have to install is the landing gear. Okay, I understand that the landing gear looks a little bit funky on a plane like this, but again, I highly recommend you install the landing gear because these landing gears, in addition to allowing you to do rise off ground takeoffs, because the wheels actually work pretty well, very lightweight. What the landing gear does, it is a prop guard for these props that are in the wing here. There's 2 pusher props here. If you do not have this landing gear, you're going to belly in, obviously. You're going to knock off these props. It's just not worth doing something like that. The nose is just put on. It's kind of this flexible rubber here. That's probably a pretty good idea to keep it from being dinged up. Everything is installed. This is the antenna for the model. This is the hatch where you put in the battery. Also, remember, a lot of your models, you plug it in and it's powered up. This one, you plug it in. It's not powered up until you turn this on-off switch on. There's a little green light that'll come on when it's on. So keep that in mind. The model with battery weighs 2.0 ounces. And what I want to do is talk a little bit about how you fly this thing. It is a 2-channel model. You can't have a simpler transmitter arrangement than this. The one thing you do have to supply are 3 AA batteries that go in the back of the transmitter. That's pretty standard. And what you do, you have 3 controls. You have a left-right turn here on the transmitter, and then throttle low, throttle high. That's it. And this is an on-off switch. When the light's on steady, it's good to go. You'll notice on the model, there are no movable control surfaces. There's no elevators, no rudders, no aileron. No movable control surfaces, 2 channels. So the model is actually kind of fun to fly because you kind of have to dig into your brain and think a little bit about what the airplane is doing. Once you get that settled down, it's a surprisingly agile fun because there's only 2 control inputs model. So what happens is you've got the 2 motors right here, and we'll power it up here in a moment. When you apply full power, both models increase in their RPM, the plane will climb with full power. You reduce the power, the model will descend. The way it turns while these 2 engines are operating with the right hand knob here, there's differential thrust, which I'll demonstrate here in a minute, that allows the model to turn. So what happens is full power it climbs, low power descends. There is a throttle setting somewhere, depending on your models, how much your batteries are charged, the wind, etc., that will maintain level flight, straight and level flight at that power setting. The thing to keep in mind when you turn, it's a differential power arrangement. Remember, any airplane, when it turns, when it banks, the wings lose a little bit of lift. You've got a little bit of back stick on the elevators, which you don't have. So you have to add some power to turn. Yet when you're turning with this model, because the differential thrust, it actually reduces a little bit of power. The trick to that is when you start to turn, automatically just add a little bit of power, so when you turn and the RPMs are decreased for the turn, that'll compensate for the loss in altitude. You'll find you get pretty good at this as you play around with it. It's a tough model. You can see that it's very rugged, I guess EPP construction. It's lightweight at 2 ounces, as I mentioned. You're not going to do any damage, but it's a fun little model to fly. So let's power it up. We'll demonstrate the model with the RC field. We'll demonstrate here how the controls work. Then we'll take it out to the RC field. So let's go ahead and power it up. Per the directions, this is a little bit different than other models. It comes binded already, but normally you turn on the transmitter, then you plug in the airplane. Here they want you to plug in the airplane, get that powered up, turn on the transmitter, and then you move the throttle high, low. That'll get a steady light. You should be going. So let's see if I can do that here. So I'm just going to simply plug in the battery here, and it's you absolutely have to make sure you get the black to the black, red to the red, and that is keyed in here, so you should be able to screw that up. Remember, as I mentioned, you got to turn it on. We have the flashing green light. We're going to turn on the transmitter. You get the flashing light here because the throttle can power up. Going to hold this. You go up, down, and there's your steady light. Now, that's the throttle, as I mentioned. It's a surprising amount of thrust. I'm going to add some power. I'll do the differential. You'll hear the throttle difference. That's how it turns. You can hear it actually increases power a little bit in the turn experiment. I typically add a little bit of power for the turn, but that's all there is to it. Power. And then even with the throttle all the way down, note, you can still turn. That's good if you're kind of gliding in. It doesn't glide well, but if you're coming down, you still have some turn capability because this will automatically give you some power for the turn. So that's all you need to know for it. Let's go ahead out to the field and take it for a test flight. We're at the RC field. Ian is showing us some views of the F-22. Nice size. You can see it on the air. You can see the 2 propellers and the cutouts there for the differential thrust and the power. Overall, just a very nice, good-looking model. So here is the no kidding maiden flight at full power. And just kind of push it, and lo and behold, it's like it's on rails. It just takes off and goes straight ahead. So we're adding some power to do the climb. With the right stick, we turn with the differential throttle to turn. It does a little bit of swooping up and down. I just have to get used to adding power, reducing power more to keep it on a level keel. But it's a very stable plane. You can see that it seeks a wings level attitude as it flies around. And overall, just a predictable flyer, I'd say, for what it is. This is coming up on the second flight. Again, just push it. It just flies out of your hands, and we're up and away. Again, getting a little bit used to the turns. You see it's got plenty of power. You add power, it gets away from the ground. It's always a good thing to have in a model. Easy to see in the air. There it is going overhead. And now we are circling in for a final landing. Surprisingly good landing. So we just finished our test flight of the Hawksworth F-22, and I got to say, I was impressed. The plane flew well. You know, obviously when you do that first launch, you want to add up elevator to climb out. Well, there's no elevator. But just with the design of the wing and everything was very carefully thought out. Everything was right. You could see that it just flew out very straight. As you added power, it started to climb up. You have to experiment with the power, otherwise you get this kind of up and down flight, which is okay. That's kind of the way it's designed. And then with the differential power, you have to experiment with adding power with that. It just takes a little bit of practice. But I will say the plane is fully controllable, it's lightweight, it has plenty of power, and once you get the hang of the two channels, the differential throttle, I think it goes and does exactly what it was supposed to do. Very nice construction, you're not going to damage this at all. The only thing that could go wrong, the props could come off if you hit them on the ground. That's why I highly recommend a landing gear. Even though it looks kind of funny, this is going to guard against the props hitting the ground. It'll save you from having to replace a prop. But other than that, I think it's a fun little airplane. I'm very happy with it, and you might consider adding that for your fleet just to throw in the trunk and have something to fly. Good luck.
Amazed by this in that two channels, the mode of control is very subtle. I have not flown models or seen models like this fly before, so this has been a real eye-opener for me.
Thank you for joining me in this video with the Hawkswork F-22. Under $50, everything you need to fly, two-channel, a lot of fun to fly, and I highly recommend if you want to give one of these a try. Thank you.